Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's episode of Booze Clues. You write them, I read them, and it is about to get real weird in here because you guys sent in some killer stories. I'm so excited to read them to you. Also, I'm really sorry if you hear me touching my microphone. I will try and mute that as much as possible, but I'm holding it because I'm currently recording a TikTok for this for people who want to see it. Some of you guys messaged me saying that you want to see more video. I feel so uncomfortable doing videos, but I will do it for the pod. I will suck it up and just let it happen. So this will be on a TikTok. Enjoy. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're enjoying your week. I just got back from a concert and not the My Chemical Romance concert that I wanted to go to originally. I was dying dying, actually almost deceased, to go to that concert. But the tickets, you guys, did anyone look at the ticket prices? They weren't coming to Arizona. So I was trying to fly out to San Francisco when all of this came about. And I was like, I gotta go see them. I wasn't able to see them in high school. I didn't see them in middle school. I need to see Gerard and Mikey. Like, this is my dream. And my emo heart was crying. And aside from Paramore, this was the band that I was pretty obsessed with. But when I saw those ticket prices, y'all, my flabbers were gasted. I was like, "You've gotta be kidding me." So, that was a quick no. Also, I could not get into the freaking whatchamacallit, so I was in the waiting room. What is it? The queue? So I was in, like, the waiting room. I was in the queue trying to buy tickets on Ticketmaster. It kicked me out 3 times because they, like, broke Ticketmaster. And then after I got kicked out, I got back in and they were pretty much gone. Like, all the good seats were gone, and they were thousands of dollars. All the third-party buyers bought out a bunch of fucking seats, and I was so mad. Like, that should be illegal. They should make it illegal. You should not be allowed to purchase entire sections and then resell them for thousands of dollars. That's insane. So I was looking up in the nosebleeds, and in San Francisco, like, that venue, Oracle Park, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous with the water behind it. So there's really, like, no bad seats. So I was looking up in the nosebleeds, and even up in the nosebleeds, I was like, "Well, first of all, I'm gonna have to find someone to go with me because my husband's not like, he doesn't like MCR. He's not really a My Chemical Romance fan." And I was like, "Okay, I gotta find someone to go with me. I'll buy 2 tickets." No, babe. No, not gonna happen. Just it was too expensive. So I didn't end up going. So that is not the concert I went to, sadly. I actually went to the Descendants and Zombies concert, the Disney one. I went with my daughter and she loved it. I took her and her cousins. They got to go as well. They've all watched the movies. I mean, they're huge fans. My little is obsessed with Descendants and Zombies. She loves Milo and Meg. Like, Zed and Addison are her people. And she, of course, loves Mal and Evie. Like, the Descendants are they're her fave. And I don't blame her because if I was her age, I would love them too. And I mean, shit, I'm a grown up and I still get down to those songs. I was at that concert singing my heart out. We were dancing, we were vibing. It was so much fun, you guys. The energy, I love the energy at concerts. Like, it doesn't even matter at the concert. I enjoy going to live events because as much as I hate people, and I don't mean that in like a mean way, but I don't like being around a lot of people. I'm kind of introverted. I'm very much a homebody. I enjoy being home, but I like going to concerts because the energy is just like it's palpable. It puts you in such a good mood. I love feeling the bass. Like, it's just so much fun. And this was her first big concert. I took her to see the Ninja Kids here in our town, and that was so cute. Like, first of all, kudos to Ninja Kids, that family. They did an amazing job. They were so sweet. My youngest, she got to hug Peyton. It made her entire year. Like, she still talks about it. And so that was like a littler show. It was a very intimate venue. This one though, this was in Phoenix and it was formerly the Footprint Center. It's where the Phoenix Suns play, the Phoenix Arena, I think is what they call it now. That's where we went and it was a legit concert. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed, you guys. I don't care who knows it. I will go to another one of those Descendant Zombies concerts. It was so fun. And the performances and the vocals were amazing. These kids are so talented, so talented. Just, I really enjoy like raw talent. I love when people can put on a good show. I love going to comedy shows. I love going to concerts. And my daughter and her cousins had the best time. It was so freaking cute to see them like dancing and singing to the songs. Oh my gosh, my heart grew 10 million sizes because it was the cutest thing I've ever seen. So that's what I've been up to aside from getting ready for the school year. And then, of course, reading your guys' booze clues, which some of these are genuinely funny. So I can't wait to read these to you. Let's just get started. Let's jump right in. This first one, the subject line is called The Babysitter, the Bathroom Mirror, and Bloody Mary. Oh my gosh. When I saw the title of this one or the subject line, I got really excited because who didn't play Bloody Mary when they were little? And this listener is from New Hampshire. So super cool. Hi, welcome to the pod. Starts off by saying, Hi, Taylor. Love the podcast. I've been a loyal Gooligan since episode 1, and I finally worked up the nerve to send in my story. And it's something that's haunted me and my sisters since the summer of 1997. Let me set the scene. We lived in a creaky little colonial-style house in rural New Hampshire. Think drafty hallways, slanted floorboards, and an attic no one dared to go into unless you wanted tetanus or nightmares. I was 9, my sister Jess was 7, and baby sis Mads was 5, and still afraid of butterflies. Butterflies? What? I've never heard of someone being afraid of butterflies before. I guess everyone has different fears of things, right? I don't like clowns or spiders or sitting next to people that I don't know on an airplane who want to talk to me. That's also my fear. She goes on to say, Our parents were finally going on a date night, a rare occasion, and they hired a girl from church to babysit. Her name was Becky. Becky had braces, a denim choker, and those inflatable furniture chairs in her room, which obviously meant she was cool as hell. Those were really cool. Becky showed up in low-rise jeans and a lip smacker's gloss so aggressive you could smell her before she even knocked. Oh, the nostalgia. My mom gave her a list of emergency numbers and told us to behave. Becky smiled sweetly, her angelic church girl persona firmly in place. But as soon as the front door clicked shut, it was like Becky shed her mortal skin and became possessed by the spirit of Goosebumps, Unsolved Mysteries, and every urban legend known to 90s kids. She didn't turn on cartoons. She didn't make us SpaghettiOs. No. She sat cross-legged on our itchy green carpet and whispered, Have you guys ever played Bloody Mary? Now, we were Catholic enough to fear the devil, but gullible enough to believe anything older kids told us. Jess immediately started crying and Mads hid under the Afghan. Oh. And me, I was riveted. Becky told us the full tale in her best I just learned about edgy things on AIM voice. AIM, do you guys remember AIM? Instant Messenger? Oh my gosh. According to her, Bloody Mary was a tortured ghost who only appeared to kids under 10 years old, especially on nights when the moon was hidden. Guess what kind of moon it was that night? She said we had to go into the bathroom, light a candle. We used a cinnamon apple glade one, turn out the lights, and chant Bloody Mary 3 times while spinning. If we were lucky, she'd appear in the mirror. If we were unlucky, she'd follow us out. Reader, we were not lucky. Oh my God. What happened? I didn't even finish the 3rd spin before Jess screamed. I swear on my Lisa Frank binder, I saw something flicker in the mirror. It wasn't my reflection. It was too tall, too shadowy. The candle blew out on its own, and Mads, well, she peed a little. Oh my gosh, the trauma. Also, swearing on your Lisa Frank binder, fair. I miss Lisa Frank. Oh my gosh, the Lisa Frank store was the best. We ran. Becky, the sadist, locked the bathroom door behind us and said she can't come out if the door stays shut. Cool, cool, cool. Love that for us. Jess refused to pee for the rest of the night. Mad started crying and kept whispering, She's behind the door. I barricaded myself under a blanket and started humming. My my heart will go on like it was a prayer. Of all the things to hum, Celine Dion. That's hilarious. Becky, though, she laughed and watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? Oh, deep cut. That was a good show. That show was so good. When my parents came home, Becky had the lights on, snacks out, and even folded our laundry. The only clue of the horror she'd inflicted was a half-burnt Glade candle and 3 traumatized sisters staring into the abyss. My mom raved about her for years. She's so mature for her age. She'll make a great mom one day. She's even cleaned the bathroom. Flash forward 20 years. Becky is now a devout mom of 3, posts Bible verses on Facebook, and runs a side hustle selling essential oils. That tracks. Last I saw her, she was singing in the church choir like nothing ever happened. I hope she repents. Yeah, me too. That was kind of mean. Like, as funny as the story is, that was pretty mean to do to you guys. I hope she tells her daughters not to play with mirrors. But deep down, I know Becky is the kind of girl who teaches her 9-year-old how to summon spirits just for fun. And honestly, respect. So, to Becky, if you're out there, thanks for introducing me to the paranormal in the most chaotic, unhinged 90s way possible. And to Bloody Mary, I'm sorry, please stay in the mirror. Yeah, girl, please stay in the mirror. We do not want Bloody Mary up in here. I've already said her name too many times. I mean, good thing I'm not looking in a mirror. That story, though, when I was little, that scared the shit out of me. If anyone else played Bloody Mary, you guys know. And it was always like you either did it at sleepovers or like older cousins made you do it. Yeah, it's always scary, or older siblings. I never had a babysitter make me do that. Thank God. When I first read that one, it made me laugh, and even reading it for you guys made me laugh again because I could see the entire scenario in my head. Like I can see the babysitter with the braces and denim jacket, lip smackers. I can just see it all so clearly. That story was from Sarah in New Hampshire. Thank you, Sarah, for sending that in. That was truly delightful. Our next story is called We Shouldn't Have Found That Camp from Laura in Idaho. Hi, Taylor. I've been meaning to send in this story for a while. Your Booze Clues episodes always feel like a safe space for people like me to unpack the weird stuff that we carry. So here it goes. This happened in the early 2000s, somewhere in the Sawtooth Mountains in Idaho. I was 16 at the time. Me and my 2 closest girlfriends, Maya and Brooke, were invited to go camping with a couple of boys from our high school. This wasn't uncommon for us. We grew up in a small town, and weekend trips to the woods were kind of a rite of passage. We packed our oversized JanSports, our clunky Nokia phones, oh man, which were useless in the backcountry, and a lot of adolescent bravado. There were 5 of us total. We parked a trailhead about 3 hours from home and hiked in a few miles to a site the boys swore was totally secluded and also really sick for stargazing, quote unquote. For the first day and night, it was fun. We set up tents, swam in an icy lake, roasted marshmallows, and passed around a contraband bottle of cheap rum that burned like fire. Oh, the good old days. We told ghost stories, but no one took them seriously. It was the next day when things shifted. We decided to hike up to a ridge that one of the boys had heard about from his older brother. Supposedly, there was an old ranger's outpost up there that had long since been abandoned. But about halfway through the hike, we veered off the trail when Brooke spotted what she thought was a cave in the rock face. It wasn't a cave. Oh no, don't go in there. It was, I don't know how else to describe it, but a campsite someone had made and left behind, but not for casual camping. It felt wrong from the moment we stepped into it. Yeah, leave. Don't go into that. Just have you seen The Blair Witch Project? Have you seen a scary movie? You don't go in there. There were animal hides, some nailed to trees, others laid out on rocks like offerings. They weren't fresh, but they weren't completely decomposed either. No fur, just rawhide. In the center was a blackened fire pit ringed with stones, and every single one of those stones had symbols etched into them. Some like runes, some like stick figures, and others like spirals or weird jagged letters. It wasn't graffiti. This had taken time. I walked over to a flat rock on the edge of the site and saw what looked like dried wax pulled into strange shapes. That's weird. Black wax in thick melted globs. Ew. There was a bundle of something tied with twine at the base of the rock. I didn't touch it. Good. Yeah, don't touch any of that. And then Maya pointed to a tree. There were bones dangling from one of the branches, tiny ones, like from birds or rodents, strung together with twine, like a wind chime. Except there was no breeze, and they didn't move. That was the moment we all silently agreed to leave. Yes, good call. No one said it out loud. No one needed to. We turned around and hiked straight back to camp, faster than ever before, not even stopping for water. It felt like we had wandered into a place that we weren't supposed to see. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to see that. Like it had been waiting there a long time for someone to find it. That night, we were all on edge. The boys, usually loud and trying to impress us, were dead silent. We didn't make a fire. We didn't unzip the tents. We just sat there inside them whispering. Around 2 a.m., we started hearing noises. First, it was the crunch of the pine needles, slow footsteps, not an animal, too heavy. Then the occasional snapping of twigs. They weren't far. We were all frozen, eyes wide open in the dark, trying not to breathe too loudly. One of the boys finally whispered, "Maybe it's just a deer." And that's when we heard something that is burned into my memory forever. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It was a voice, a man's voice, speaking low, almost like chanting, but in no language that I could recognize. Oh, no. Nope on a rope. Nopety fucking nope. We didn't wait. We didn't discuss. We grabbed what we could, sprinted to the trail, and hiked out in the dark. You guys got out of the tent and ran with a strange man out there? Oh my God. Okay, I guess I don't know what else you would do, but I don't know. I think my fight response would kick in. I'd be like, not today. But oh my God, that's terrifying. So y'all just ran out of there. Okay. All right. No flashlights, no trail markers. We followed the stars and the slope of the land until we made it back to the car just before sunrise. Oh my God. You guys didn't even know where you were going. That is not safe. Not safe. Don't do that. Don't do that again. I guess you did say that you were used to going camping out there, which is good. Maybe you like knew your way around, but that scares me a lot for you. We left the tents, we left the food, even Maya's boots. We just got in and drove. We never told anyone, not our parents, not our teachers. We even avoided talking about it with each other after that day. Sometimes when I'm really stressed, I see those symbols carved into the rocks in my dreams. I hear the bones clinking and that voice whispering in the dark. We never went back. And I still don't know if what we saw was something ancient, something ritualistic, or something worse. All I know is we shouldn't have found that camp. Hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you read it on the podcast. P.S. I really love your merch line. Thank you for the hat. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for buying it. If you guys buy merch and you want to like tag me in your pictures of you wearing it, do that. I would love to see them. That's really fun. Oh, I love camping, but that camping can be really scary. Our next one is called Room 217 and Other Regrets. Okay, let's get into it. This is from, can I read your name? I don't remember. Yes, Stephanie from Colorado. Hi, Taylor. I love your show. I figured I'd toss my own ghost story into this Booze Clues cauldron. Oh, I like that. Like a spooky little soup, a little spooky soup. I don't know what I'm saying. This one's got haunted hallways, creepy children, and the spirit of a man who really just wants you to mind your business. So buckle up because this happened at none other than the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. I love the Stanley Hotel. I went there when I was a teenager. My softball team went to nationals. We went to the Colorado Sparkler, the All American. No, that wasn't the year that the All American Rejects played. Guys, the All American Rejects played once at our softball concert, and it was, as the youth would say, it was lit. It was so cool. Uh, One of my best memories in my whole life. We went to nationals again, and I went to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado with my family. We walked around. We didn't stay the night or anything, but it's a very cool place. So, highly recommend. She goes on to say, yes, that Stanley Hotel, the one that inspired The Shining and has a reputation for being one of the most haunted hotels in America. I stayed there in 2021 with my sister for her 30th birthday. Oh, that's fun. We both love spooky stuff and decided to treat ourselves to a night in room 217, famously haunted by Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper who reportedly still tidies up, even in the afterlife. Now, I didn't expect anything to actually happen. I figured the spookiest thing would be the minibar prices, but oh, I was wrong. Yeah, those prices are no joke. Let me tell you about ghost number one. And I say ghost number one because we saw more than one ghost. That is how math works. You are so funny. I love ghost number one was Elizabeth Wilson, the OG housekeeper. Right off the bat, weird stuff started happening in the room. We unpacked and went down for dinner. But when we came back, one of our suitcases was zipped up again. Neither of us had zipped it. I half joked that Miss Elizabeth didn't appreciate our tornado of chaos and tidied up for us. Later that night, my sister left her shoes by the door. In the morning, one was missing. Just one. We found it in the bathroom, placed neatly in the tub. Oh, that's weird. Maybe she's being silly. Elizabeth has been known to move guests' belongings, especially if she thinks you're messy or, unmarried. Which we are. Sorry, Liz. So she moves your stuff if you're unmarried? What does that symbolize? Like, here's your other shoe. Go find your Prince Charming to put the shoe on your foot. Like, I don't know. Now let's talk about ghost number two, the phantom children of the fourth floor. Ooh, I remember them telling me about this actually at the hotel. That night, we took the ghost tour, which stopped on the fourth floor, where guests report hearing phantom children running, giggling, and sometimes knocking on doors. I was already creeped out, but sure enough, around 2 a.m., we both woke up to the sound of footsteps running above us, fast, like little kids playing tag. But here's the thing room 217 is on the top floor. There is no floor above us. Oh, babes, that is creepy. We told ourselves maybe it was the pipes or some raccoons that maybe ate some coffee beans. But then came the knock. 3 soft knocks on the door. We opened it and no one was there. Naturally, we did what any self respecting ghost hunters would do. We turned on every single light and watched TikToks until sunrise. Some of us seek out the spooky, and others of us pretend it's not there. I seek out the spooky. So if that happened to me, I would take my flashlight and go ghost hunting around the hotel. I'd be like, "What do you guys want? Do you want to play? I have some toys. Let's talk. What would you like to do?" So, but that's just me. She goes on to say, "But wait, there's more." Ghost number 3, Lord Dunraven, the creepy spectator. Now, here's the part that made us both say nope in unison. I was brushing my teeth and heard my sister say, "Do you see that guy in the mirror?" I spit my toothpaste out like a cartoon character. "What guy?" Standing behind her, just for a second, was what she described as a man in a long coat and old fashioned collar, kind of hunched, kind of staring. She said she felt like she was being watched all night. We later learned that guests have reported sightings of Lord Dunraven, an early owner who allegedly never even stayed at the hotel, but seems to be hanging around anyway. He's most often seen in the mirrors or lingering in corners. Real casual, real creepy, real, sir, please don't do that. Yeah. Come on. Let's not stare at people through mirrors and just don't be creepy about it. Maybe just tip your hat, say hello, and go on your way. We checked out the next morning after barely sleeping, and when the desk clerk asked, "How was your stay?" we both just looked at each other and said, "Fine." That's all you said? You were just like, "It was fine." I would have been like, "Do you have a book that I can write this in? Do you have an experiences book, like a journal for guests? Because we got to write this down. We got to document this." I wonder if they have that. I don't remember them having it when I was there, but that would be cool. Some places have that. I think I could be wrong, but I want to say the Lizzie Borden house has like a little journal for guests to write in, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Anywho, I hope you've enjoyed this spoopy little tale. She said spoopy. I love that. This spoopy little tale. Honestly, I'd stay there again. And now I know what to expect. Keep it creepy, but don't stare at people through a mirror while they brush their teeth. Yeah, don't do that. That's a no-go for me. All right, guys. Our next story is the night the Fae came for Aunt Bridget. This one, I'm so fucking excited to read it. If you like stories of Fae, like fairies, evil ones, there is a big misconception about fairies, guys. They are not Tinkerbells. They're not like that. They're assholes, and they will come for your children. This story is called "The Night the Fae Came for Aunt Bridget." This story was sent in by Ashley in Massachusetts. Hi, Ashley. Thank you for writing in. She says, "Hi, Tay. Can I call you Tay? I'm going to call you Tay." Yes, you can call me Tay. Everyone calls me that in my family. My friends growing up called me that. Tay, Tay, Tay. Yeah, that's my nickname. So you're welcome to call me that. She says, I've been listening since episode 1 and had to finally send this in. I'm originally from Massachusetts, but my family is as Irish as they come. County Clark on my mom's side, Cork on my dad's side. And the women in our family, sorry, that was a really stupid accent I just did. I don't know why I did that. I can't read Irish words without trying to have an Irish accent, which I can't even do. So, very sorry to my Irish heritage. I am also Irish. That was an embarrassment to you all. I am so sorry, Grandma. She goes on to say, and the women in our family, let's just say the line between ghost story and family history is very blurry. Dude, that's the best kind. This one came from my granny Maureen, who is both terrifying and fabulous. A chain smoking, rosary carrying, lace curtain Catholic with a deep belief in saints, spirits, and the she. If you don't know what she is, that is the ancient fae folk. She never called them fairies. She said that was an insult. According to Granny Maureen, quote, you don't call them fairies unless you want trouble, girl. Is that any better? How was that? Probably not. And apparently, that trouble she was talking about almost found my great aunt Bridget. It happened in the 1940s in Ireland. Granny told us this story every October like it was a bedtime tale, which honestly, it was not. I was maybe 7 the first time she told me, and I did not sleep well that night. It was the early 1940s in rural Clare. Her younger sister, Bridget, was about 6 years old. One warm spring evening, the kids were outside helping bring in laundry when Bridget just wandered off. That was the first weird thing, because she wasn't the wandering type. They found her a few minutes later, standing in the middle of a ring of mushrooms, completely silent, eyes wide, like she was listening to something that only she could hear. When Granny called to her, Bridget didn't respond. She just smiled. Not a normal kid smile, she said. A strange, fixated grin, like someone else was wearing her face. Ugh. My great grandmother lost her shit. She ran down the hill and pulled Bridget out of the mushroom ring. And the second her foot broke the edge, she collapsed like a puppet whose strings got cut, just out cold. After a few minutes, she came to, totally fine, except she didn't remember any of it. She said she was playing with a girl in a white dress who, quote, danced without touching the ground, end quote, and told her they were going to a better place. Granny swore up and down that the Fae were trying to take her, to swap her with a changeling or lure her into the other world. She said that the ring had grown overnight, perfectly circular, and that animals wouldn't go near it. They burned it the next day just to be safe. Yeah, if an animal won't go near it, I'm not fucking with it. Sorry, not happening. After we heard this story for the first time, it finally made sense why Granny never let us play near the woods after dusk. One time, though, I did find an old carved stone in her garden that looked like a face, and I asked if I could keep it. She looked at me dead in the eye and said, if you do, we'll have to leave bread and milk out for a year, or they'll wreck the house. Your choice. I did not take the stone. I still don't know if I believe every part of it, but let me tell you, Granny believed. And if you ever saw her face when she talked about that mushroom ring, you'd believe too. There's a kind of fear that doesn't fade with time, and hers was bone deep. So, Taylor, if you're ever in Ireland and see a perfect circle of mushrooms in the grass, walk the long way around. Stay spooky. Love, Ashley. Oh. Yeah, I think Fae lore is so interesting. I find it fascinating. I also have Irish roots, and I've read a lot about it and like the mushroom circles and what that represents, and I think it's very very spooky. Don't worry, if I ever encounter that, I am definitely not going near it. All right, guys, I got 2 more stories for you. This one gave me chills. The subject line of this one is, he taught us how to build fires, and then they found out what else he'd done, right? Right off the bat, real creepy. That was a great subject line. Now, this, I'm not going to use this person's name. We will just call them Jay for story purposes. He said I can call him Jay from Michigan. So, Jay from Michigan, thank you for writing in. And here we go. Hey, Taylor, I wasn't sure if I should send this in. But after seeing some old friends recently, it unlocked something in me that I hadn't thought about in years. This one's not paranormal, no ghosts, no creatures, but it is the story that made me start triple checking every quote unquote trusted adult in my life. Because sometimes the real monsters are the ones who hand out marshmallows and tell you you're doing a great job pitching a tent. This happened when I was around 12 at a Boy Scout camp in Michigan. One of those week-long summer camps where your parents drop you off in the woods with your sleeping bag, a dozen mosquito bites waiting to happen, and a bunch of guys who think deodorant is optional. Oh, God. Yeah, I can smell it now. Enter Mr. Chad. Name has been changed for story purposes. Our main counselor that year was a guy in his 30s named Chad. We all called him Mr. Chad. He was the cool one, not in a he gave us beer kind of way, just charismatic. He knew all the knots, he told the best ghost stories around the fire, and he could shoot an arrow like Legolas. You wanted to be assigned to his group. He made you feel like a mini survival expert. I remember him once helping me clean a fish that I caught, showing me how to gut it, and then jokingly saying, "You're better with a knife than some of the counselors." That line hits different now. Looking back, there were small things. He didn't like being in photos. He never let anyone go into his cabin. He was very into kids who were shy or kind of loners, always making sure that they sat by him or hiked next to him. At the time, it felt kind. In hindsight, it was targeted. One night during the campfire, he told a story that scared the hell out of us about a man who lived in the woods and took campers who snuck off alone. He ended it with this deadpan stare, like he wanted to see who was afraid. I remember thinking he held that stare a little too long. 3 years later, a news story broke, and it all made sense. I was 15 at home doing homework when my mom gasped out loud and said, "Isn't this your old camp?" She was watching the local news, and there he was, Mr. Chad, being escorted in handcuffs. He'd been arrested for the murder of a woman in a nearby town. Not only that, but the case tied him to two more disappearances. One of them was a local teen who'd gone missing on a hike the year before. He was living under a fake name. His real identity was tied to a criminal record in another state, and somehow, he slipped through the cracks and got hired as a kids' summer camp counselor, a Boy Scout camp counselor. We found out that he'd lied about everything: his age, his credentials, even his references. And all those photos that we tried to take with him that he waved off, probably because he didn't want anyone connecting the dots sooner. Like, how do you process that? I spent the next few weeks flipping through old camp photos, looking at group shots with this literal murderer standing next to us like he belonged, smiling, helping us tie ropes, teaching us to be prepared. I don't know how close we actually were to danger. I don't know if he ever meant to hurt any one of us, but I do know this: he was good at pretending, and we were just kids who thought he was the coolest guy in camp. I still go camping, I still build fires, but I always keep my eye on the guy in charge now. Because once you've shared trail mix with a murderer, you don't take things at face value anymore. Oh, yeah, that's chilling. Let me know if you want to follow up. I've got another weird one about a ranger who went off the grid in the same area years later. No idea if it's connected, but who knows? And thanks for creating a space where weird guys like me don't feel so weird remembering this stuff. You keep it spooky, and I'll keep sending stories. Then he put a little fire in a tent and a little axe emoji. Wow, Jay from Michigan. What a fucking tale. Yeah. You just don't know people. Like, we don't know anyone. We don't. Uh, that is horrifying. Could you freaking imagine sending your kid to a Boy Scout camp with people who are supposed to be taking care of them? You're supposed to be able to trust them. And then to find out that they were a murderer? Oh my God. This last one is very sweet, and you guys are going to like this last one. It's a meet cute. I'm not going to read you the subject line because it gives it away, but I'll read it afterwards. This is from Lana in Chicago. She says, "Hi, Taylor. First time confessor, episode 1 listener. Let's set the scene. I'm 26, wearing what I thought was a flirty sweater, but in hindsight was absolutely giving elementary school librarian with a dark secret. I'm on a first date with a guy from Hinge. He has a jawline, and I have hope. Oh, yes, we've all been there, babes. We're at this little tapas place where everything is $9 and suspiciously small, and he's asking me those polite getting to know you questions. Like, so what kind of stuff are you into? Which is such a loaded question, right? He meant music, I assume. He meant hobbies. He meant normal, socially digestible answers like hiking or sourdough. Instead, my brain said, this is your moment. Talk about the Night Stalker. Oh my God. Are we the same person? You know how many men I've scared away? Kind of weeds out the weak. She goes on to say, this is where it all went wrong. I launched into a 10-minute monologue about Richard Ramirez. 10 full minutes, uninterrupted, eyes sparkling, voice animated. I even included quotes. Oh, I love you, Lana. I said, quote, did you know he used to break into homes while people were asleep, then eat snacks from their fridge afterward? It's like a murder in a charcuterie board. Isn't that wild? He blinked once, twice, said, I think I saw that Netflix thing, and suddenly had to check on his dog at 7:30 p.m. on a Friday. I never heard from him again. I assume he went into witness protection. And honestly, fair. Fast forward to the plot twist. A few years later, I met this other guy. Different app, no jawline, but very symmetrical ears. Good to know. On our second date, I mentioned to him that I'm into true crime, but like carefully, casually, just a sprinkle. He says, oh, like that podcast where they joke, but it's still respectful? Taylor, I nearly proposed right there, right? Like that's how you know. I bet he was talking about My Favorite Murder. I bet that that's what he was talking about, or Morbid, one of them. They like to joke around, but they take the story seriously. She goes on to say, cut to our wedding day. Oh, his gift to me, a vintage copy of The Stranger Beside Me. My gift to him, noise canceling headphones for when I spiral about the Long Island serial killer at 2 a.m. She says he still doesn't totally get the obsession, but he tries. He'll sit through me explaining 1980s police incompetence like he's watching our taxes being done in real time. He's probably just blinking. He's just staring at you and blinking. Every once in a while, he'll say, wait, didn't you tell me about a guy who left footprints? And I think he just says that to make me happy. And it does, because my heart just melts. He truly tries to be involved in the conversation, even when he has no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Oh, that's sweet. You gotta love it. Moral of the story, if he can't handle you at your Richard Ramirez, 8 oranges in the crime scene, he doesn't deserve you at your Anne Rule hardcover with tabs and color coded sticky notes. Stay weird, Taylor, and tell your listeners this. Sometimes you scare a man away with your murder knowledge, and sometimes he just scoots closer and says, tell me more about the shoe print. P.S. I am also very into the paranormal. Our anniversary is coming up in October, and he asked me if I wanted to go to Salem so I could finally live out my witchy dream. Good men do exist. He is a unicorn, and he is my soulmate. Oh, I love that story so much. I'm so glad you found a man who can appreciate you in all of your weird. And happy almost anniversary in October. I know it's still like months away, but happy early anniversary. Well, that is the last story. I hope you enjoyed all of these wonderful tales from our amazing listeners. If you have a story to send me, send it in, babe. This is my favorite part of the podcast, I think. I just really enjoy reading your stories. I love the research that I do for the episodes, but reading your stories is such a nice little break. It's a nice break from the murder of it all, because as much as it interests me, it does get very heavy. But these are so fun, and they really do break it up a little bit. So thank you guys for sending them in. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you go camping, please do not wander off the trail. Definitely do go to the Stanley Hotel. And don't be afraid to show your weird to people, because the real ones will stick around. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. And as always, remember to trust your lizard brain. Until next time, goodbye.